What up, everyone? Back for another video. Time to do a monthly review. I'm not sure when this video is going to be posting, by the way. I should have mentioned in the last video, I was taking a week off because it was my birthday, and I was too busy doing birthday things to record a video and edit a video. And then the following week, I tried to edit this video, but my computer's broken, so I've been using the computers at work. Those computers are all going under maintenance and will be out of commission for about 2 weeks. So after I already took a week break, the computers at work were out of commission, so I'm not sure when this is posting. It might be the following week. It might be like a month from now. But I'm going to record it, and hopefully I can just borrow someone's computer and edit it when I can. So other than that, this is the monthly subscription box reviews. These are the ones from August. We're a week behind. I would have done them last week, but like I said. And the boxes from September are already showing up, so we have a little preview of that as well. And on a side note, it's hot as shit here. Oh god, it's so hot here. So I apologize if I'm sweating and I'm disgusting right now, but, you know, it is what it is. So, without further ado, let's get to them. In no particular order. Number 1, Geek Fuel. The Geek Fuel bag. Good news about this company. They announced that in the month of September, they're going back to the subscription box. So this t-shirt club thing was only temporary. They said it was originally, but I tend not to believe companies when they say that because it's just usually signs that they're going bankrupt, but they're going back to the subscription box, which is a great thing because this company was once the greatest box I ever got. It was really fantastic. So it's good, but also it might not be because if you remember, right before they switched to the t-shirt club, the boxes were honestly not that great anyway. So I'm glad they're going back to the box, so we'll get more in the t-shirt, but we'll have to wait and see exactly how good it is. But it sounds like a good sign of things to come. So I'm trying to stay optimistic about it. But this is the last time we'll be receiving the t-shirt club because these are usually not so great. First off, our t-shirt. This one's actually pretty cool. Now, usually I really don't like the crossover shirts. There's a fly flying around here. Get out of here. Usually I don't like the crossover shirts because they're usually really poorly done, but this one's very nicely done. Obviously, it's a crossover between Mario Brothers and Cuphead, and they did a very nice job on it. It's very well stylized. It's very well designed. Usually when companies do a crossover, it's just some really cheap, stupid-looking thing. It looks like a 2-year-old drew it, but they did a very nice job here, and the color is very balanced as well. It's not just a bunch of bright colors. They kept it in that kind of analogous tone, which I appreciate. I appreciate when there's good design quality to t-shirts, because if there's not, I'm just not going to wear them. And if you don't wear them, they're technically worthless. So that'll get the standard $12 to $15 value. But as far as the score on that, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. They do decent quality shirts. They've been kind of hit and miss lately. The quality's been kind of going down here and there, but it seems like they're picking up again. But nice quality, good design. And the only other item in here was a pin. And this one, you got a random one from Marvel. This one's of Domino. And I kind of looked up what various pins were going for, and the value on that's like $10 to $15. It kind of depends on what character you got, but it's really crazy because a lot of Mondo pins, Marvel ones specifically, go for crazy amounts of money. Like, we're talking like hundreds of dollars, but some of them just go for like $10. So it's kind of hard to give it an exact value, so $10 to $15 on that. That brings our value on the low end of $22 and on the high end of $30. And this is a $24 bag, so really not much more than you paid for. So good quality stuff. It's a very nice quality pin, very nice quality shirt, but not a lot of items, not a lot of value. For that reason, it's going to get a 5 out of 10. It's just barely worth it. You are getting what you paid for, not much more than that, but at least they're very good quality items, so the odds that you're going to like the items in there are very high. And once again, this is the last time we'll see this, so hopefully they keep this momentum. They obviously do good shirts. The pins are cool. They just have to find like 1 or 2 other really good items. Other good news is they're really not increasing the price. It's about the same price. I think the price is increasing by like maybe $2. So that's great as well. They're not going to do some crazy upcharge for the extra items. They're pretty much just going back to what they were, which I really like. I think that's great. So I'm excited to see what comes from that company in the future. Next, Loot Crate. And I've completely lost track of what boxes we're getting these days, if this is the current one or if this is the one we're owed. It's so hard to keep track of. They owe us like 6 months worth of boxes, but here's one. I'm just calling it August box because that's when it showed up. And we got a shirt here. Now this one, is, I mean, the design's cool. It's one that's been done a million times. Stay Puft as a s'more, like, fine. But the quality on these shirts is really not great. Considering that Loot Crate has its own clothing company that's literally called Loot Wear, you'd think the quality of them would be much nicer since they're ordering them in such high quantities. But it's really not. So the design on the shirt is okay, and the quality on the shirt is pretty shitty, actually. They're almost the bottom of the barrel when it comes to shirt quality, which is very surprising. So as far as a score on that, it's going to get a 5 out of 10, but it'll get the standard $12 to $15 value. Next, we got what they're calling a diorama. This has been a very common thing from Loot Crate where they do a backing and then cut an item in half and post it on there, which is so weird. They do that with action figures where they cut them in half. Now they're doing it with the car where they cut it in half, and it's like, why not just put the whole car? Why not just put the whole action figure? Why are they cutting it in half? It just looks a little bit awkward, but you know, it's still cool to have nonetheless. Value on this is going to be between 20 and 30, but closer to that $20 range. I say 20 to 30 because there was one listing for 20, but most of them are listed at 30, but no one's paying for that. No one's trying to go out of their way to pay $20 or $30 to buy this, so it's hard to say it's worth that. I would barely say it's worth 20 because people aren't even paying that much. It's cool to have in the box, but again, the choices they make and the design quality of it is just very awkward a lot of the time, so it's really hard to give it a lot of value. Next, we got some socks from Rick and Morty. Nothing special about it here, just some lootware stuff that they kind of throw in because the boxes were so far behind, they just wanted to get them out there, so they just kind of threw in some like lootware items, socks, and those go for like $8 to $10, and that's being generous on the value. I don't think anyone would pay that, and people weren't paying that, but, you know, I think that's just a fair general sock value. Last, we got a keychain of He-Man and She-Ra, and it spins around. The keychain on that, if you wanted to buy it, you'd have to pay $10 because that's what it's being listed for. But again, no one's paying that. No one's paying that $10 value. So if I had to give it my honest opinion value, I would value it more like $5 or $6. And that's being generous because if no one's paying that, then it's not technically worth that. That brings our value on the low end of 50, on the high end of 65, which sounds great, but as I was saying previously with a lot of these items, they're really not valued at even the low value there, because that's what you'd have to pay to buy it, but no one else is paying that, so it's not technically worth that. If I had to give this box an honest opinion value, I'd value it more at around $40, honestly. So for that reason, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10, because you are still getting more than you paid for. And Loot Crate did recently increase their price. I was correct on that. Now this is a $35 box after all the taxes and stuff like that. So a recent increase, which I think was a dick move because they're so far behind on boxes that we didn't get boxes for like almost a year, and then they just hike up the price and didn't give us anything. So kind of a dick move in my opinion, and hopefully they give us all the boxes we're owed. So it's hard to say if this is one of the older boxes, technically it's worth $30. If it's one of the newer ones, technically it costs, costs $35. So it's kind of hard to say if this is the old or the new box and what it would technically cost. But either way, you are getting more than you paid for. Only a little bit more, but you are getting more than you paid for. And the quality on these things was decent. It wasn't like bad stuff. It just wasn't particularly amazing or great. So 6 out of 10 on that. Next, Marvel Collector Core. And this one was themed for I Am Groot. I watched all those little shorts. They were okay. Very clearly for kids. I like Groot. He's a cool character, but the little shorts were just like kind of there. Nothing really special about him. So a shirt. I don't want to take it out of the plastic, but I'll show a picture. And it's of the same thing as always, the pop version of that character. This one doesn't look too bad. When they do characters that aren't like humanoid, I don't mind the pop version of them as much. It's when they're the humans that they look kind of goofy as the pop character on a t-shirt. And I've said it once, I'll say it a million times, I wish they would just switch it up at least once where we don't get pop tees, where we just get comic book style t-shirts. That's what I want. And they're promoting the Disney Plus, but it's still Funko. Why don't you just do something from the show? I really wish they would do not pop tees, just the character. I know it's never going to happen, but I wish they would. Next, we got a pin. Oh, sorry. Shirt. The value on the shirt, $12 to $15. Score on the shirt, 6 out of 10. Funko has decent quality shirts, actually. They're pretty well fitted. They're pretty good quality. Not fantastic, but pretty good. And the design on it is very basic, nothing super special, but 6 out of 10 on that. Standard $12 to $15 value. Pin, this is going to go for about $6 to $10. Again, I've said it a million times. I wish they would give us a backing. It would cost them like an extra 2 cents to just put it on a backing. It looks so much better, would look so much higher in quality. Really something they could do, but $6 to $10. Man, can't talk tonight. All right, next we got a decal. And this is going for like $5 to $8. Again, people aren't really paying that as much, but if you wanted it, that's what you'd have to do. Then we got 2 pop figures. Potted Groot, and then Groot surfing on a piece of soap. I believe that's what it is. So again, nothing super special about them. Pretty straightforward. I have the Potted Groot from back when Guardians of the Galaxy 1 came out, so wasn't super psyched to see it, and they're both very similar, nothing super special about them, but they're both going to go for about the same value, which is $15 to $18, which is pretty low considering that they're exclusive. Usually at least one of them goes for like a $30 range, but they're both in that $15 range, which is not much more than just a standard pop figure in the store. I think they go for like $12 now. So that brings our value on the low end of $53, on the high end of $69. This is a $30 box, so you're getting pretty close to double your value, and considering it is all exclusive, that's pretty good. And there's nothing that's bad in here. It just wasn't mind-blowing or anything like that. So for that reason, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I think they did a decent job. It's always a pleasure to see this box. This is one that's probably always going to be around, and I'm happy to have it. Marvel's my biggest fandom, and considering it's 100% exclusive, I just wish they would take into consideration some alternatives every once in a while. Switch it up with the tee. Switch it up with the pins. Something. It just would be nice to see some variation, but I'm pretty sure that's asking too much. So 7 out of 10 on that. Alright, moving right along. Next, we got the BAM box. Or should I say the BAM bag. For some reason, came in a bag this month. I don't really know why. No real explanation. They might have just run out of boxes. Like, you know, whatever. Not a big deal. Things did come a little bit damaged, though, so it is somewhat of a big deal. But also, the box for next month came, and there's a lot of choices they've made that I'm really in support of. I think they made a lot of smart choices, but we'll talk about that in the next video. Anyway, let's get into what we got in here. First off, the autograph, and we got Sinbad. And I was super happy to see this. I'm a huge Sinbad fan. I used to watch his stand-up comedy as a kid. I love Jingle All the Way. Who doesn't? Classic Christmas movie. And I like that I got something from that movie, which is really fantastic. I think that's really great. And I got one of the one-up versions of them, one of the rare ones, which personally, I don't think makes any difference when it comes to the autograph. The value comes from the autograph itself, not necessarily the picture it's on. It's not a bad thing that they do that. They give different rarities of different pictures, so it's not bad. It's cool. It makes people a little more excited, but it really doesn't give it any more value. Just because this is a rare piece of paper doesn't make the signature any more valuable. So again, not a bad thing that they do that, but I just want to make sure people realize that it doesn't change the value whatsoever. So that being said, even though I got a rare one, the signature goes for like $30 to $35, which is pretty standard. It's usually around that $30 range. He's a little more popular than some of the autographs we got in the past, so $30 to $35 I think is great. Super happy to get this, and I'm happy that I got one of the rarer ones, but I would have been just as happy with one of the other ones as far as the signature. So, you know, whatever. Next, we got an art print. Now, this is actually from a pretty well-known artist, Justin Froning. They did one before. He did a Shang-Chi one a few months back, but this is really well done. And this is what I appreciate. This is what I've been saying they should go back to, because that's how they started out. They started out getting real artists with real prints that look good. And for the longest time, they just did fan art that looked like people just doodled on it. And not that that's bad, but it just looks so cheap. Like, who would ever want to frame stuff like that? This actually looks really cool. This looks like legit art. And the paper that it's printed on is very nice in quality. It has some texture to it. It's got that like braille kind of feel to it. I know there's a specific word for the type of paper. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. I've always called it like watercolor paper, how it's like texture like that. So it's on very high quality paper, which is also something I notice, also something I appreciate. So I've been saying they should kind of get rid of the art print or switch it up, but, you know, as long as they're doing high-quality stuff, I don't mind it as much. And this looks really cool. This is a badass picture. Well-known artist. So the value on this is $12 to $15, which is not much more than they usually are. A little bit more, but not much, which is, again, to be expected because once they print so many of them, there's never going to be a ton of value behind these. But I like that they're at least going through the trouble to get well-known artists, to get really nice prints, to print them out nicely, to get a signature, to get them signed and numbered and stuff like that. So it's still very much appreciated to go through that. This is one of the rare ones I might actually keep because I'm a fan of that, and that looks really cool. Next, we got a pin from Squid Game. Why is everyone doing Squid Game pins? This is like the 10th Squid Game pin I've gotten. Like, why? Why are they all pins? That's such a weird thing. And they're so creepy looking. And again, I got a rarer one. I got the glitter variant, but this creepy little child, I'm not a fan of that. And people need to stop doing Squid Game pins. But either way, it's going to go for $10 to $12 on that. Lastly, we got a card. Something they're trying to do. They're trying to start a collectible card series. I appreciate that they're doing that. I get what they're going for, but I have to let them know it's going to be a long, tough road to get your cards worth something, especially when they're not necessarily popular characters. It's like a Mod Podge of their mascot mixed with a popular character. So when they give these individual cards, really not much value to it. If you look online, people are trying to sell them for like $10, $20, $30, but no one, and I mean no one, is paying for that because nobody wants that, let alone paying $30 for a random card, especially considering they make so many of these. It's hard to give something value that's that common. So again, I appreciate that they're doing it, and the next box they did it much better, but really no value on the card. But I give this a $3 to $5 value just because of the case. This is a very, very nice card case. So if nothing else, card case there, $3 to $5 on that. So that brings our value on the low end of 55 and on the high end of 67. So not much more than you paid for there, only a little bit more. Really love the autograph. I appreciate that they did better in the art print. The pin was there. It's still a nice pin. I'm just not a fan of Squid Game pins in particular. And then the card comes in a nice case. So for that reason, I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. All right, last. Moving right through this. We got Zobie, our bi-monthly box. This one was actually very similar to Bambox in a lot of ways. So, first, our autograph. Brittany Daniels. I feel the same way about this one. Super psyched to get this. I love Joe Dirt. It's one of my, I don't know if it's my all-time favorite movies, but a movie I loved as a kid. Still love it to this day. Fantastic movie. She was also in, I'm pretty sure she was in White Chicks with the Wayans brothers. She was also in It's Always Sunny. I'm pretty sure that was her. It was Always Sunny. She was the tranny that Mac dated. And I love that show. I'm a huge Always Sunny fan. And she was at various times through that show, tons of different episodes. So I was super psyched to get this. Brittany Daniels. So very excited for this. And I like that they did something from Joe Dirt, which is really fantastic. And the value on that's going to go for 30 to 40. A little bit more on her. I don't know if it's because she's popular or because she's just attractive. I'm not quite sure. Either way, it goes a little tiny bit more than the average autograph. But really psyched to see that. So super excited to get her autograph in there. Then we got a shirt. Said it once, I'll say it again. As far as shirts go, Zobie is the bottom of the barrel. It is the lowest of the low as far as quality. The designs are getting a little bit better, so this one's a little bit better design, because for the longest time it was just like a phrase across, and there was just so boring, so plain. So at least they're doing more of a picture now, which is great, but the quality on these is just ass. It really is. They're rough and scratchy and boxy and oversized, where the sleeves are just like come out to here, and it's like, who has like these 200-inch arms? Like, who's designing these t-shirts? Ridiculous. So it'll get the standard $12 to $15 value, but as far as a score on that quality-wise, 5 out of 10. The picture looked fine. Nothing wrong with the picture per se, just the quality of the shirt. And also, it seemed like it was a 90s themed box, but wasn't Animal House 80s? Am I wrong on that? Wasn't that a different era? So I don't know if they just made a mistake on that or not, but, you know, whatever. Next, we got a pin from Problem Child. Now you had the option of 2 pins. One was a cool one. One was him in the devil mask. I'll show you right here. One was him in the devil mask. Very clearly from Problem Child. Anyone that sees that, who's seen the movie, would say Yeah, that's Problem Child. Then we got the regular version of him here, which is what I got, which I don't think anyone would recognize. It's too obscure to recognize, oh yeah, that's the kid from Problem Child. So I'm kind of bummed I got this version. They should have just done the devil version because that's the iconic version of him. If I put this on my wall, I don't think anyone's going to recognize that he's from Problem Child. They're going to think it's just some weird redheaded stepchild that I have a pin of. So a little bit creepy to have this pin, but either way, goes for $12 to $15, which is pretty standard as far as their pins go. But a nice quality pin, at least there's that. Last, we got a medallion from Beverly Hills Ninja, which is such an obscure reference. I saw that movie once as a kid when it was in theaters, and even then I was like, meh, that's just okay. And I barely remember what the medallion looked like. Luckily, they had a picture in there, so I don't know who's picking what prop replicas to do and why they went so far back with such an obscure reference, but I mean, it does look like it did in the movie, so I guess that's good. And value on that is 10 to 15. That's what it's being listed for, but again, no one's paying that. So it's probably going to be value-wise less than 10 because that's the cheapest it was listed, and no one's paying even that because, again, such an obscure reference, really, really obscure. And once again, all 90s except the shirt was 80s. Really weird. I don't know if someone's just not paying attention over at Zobie, but so value-wise, on the low end, 64, on the high end, 85. And I'm also going to give this one a 6.5 out of 10. I feel very similarly as I do about Bambox. Really love the autograph. Fantastic. The pin was good quality, but a really weird choice. Same as Bam. Medallion prop replica was well done, but again, super obscure reference. It looks like a coin, though, so I'll put it on a little coin stand and keep it. Why not? And the shirt was absolute crap. Got higher value here, but some lower quality items. I really think they should just get rid of the shirt or do nicer quality shirts. They're really terrible quality. They're absolutely horrible. So 6.5 out of 10 on that. So those are all the boxes. Sorry I rushed through it, but it's just so fucking hot here. I'm sweating. You can see me glistening right now. And Wolf keeps hopping on my lap and he's making me all sweaty. So that was it. Hopefully I can do another video next week, but like I said, I'm not sure when I'll be able to edit this. I'm going to have to find someone's computer I can borrow, find someone that has video editing software with enough features. So if the editing looks a little bit different, that's why, because I don't have all my plugins on my normal computer. Other than that, the boxes of September have started showing up, and some of them are very promising, so some things to look forward to. Other than that, I'm going to have to come up with some ideas of stuff to do. As you see behind me, there's always new stuff back here, so constantly growing collection. Maybe I'll show that off sometime. Other than that, let me know what you think. Let me know things you want to see. Let me know your opinion on stuff like that, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Thank you all for watching, supporting. See you in the next video. Love you all. Peace.